Our big mission here was to interpret the single word program that we got from our clients, which was intimacy. We understood that acoustics could operate through psychoacoustics. When you saw better, you actually heard better. And so we made every effort to produce a space where sight was made into a feature. All of our Lincoln Center work is in impossible schedules, always threading that needle so finely. There are performances all over the campus. Juilliard had to stay open during their entire renovation. Everything has to be logistically executed perfectly to pull it off. When we were originally asked to do this by Rebecca Robertson, she was the head of redevelopment at Lincoln Center. She thought that we could bring media onto the site and bring effectively what's inside out and bring some of the streets back into Lincoln Center. There was a very large plaza that was built over it. It was originally linking the north and south campuses together and created a 200-foot long shadow. So this street was always basically a service corridor, and along it are loading docks and garage entrances. So the first assignment to us was make this a street again. This building that you see here is an expansion of the Juilliard School by about 45,000 square feet into Broadway. Some of the other buildings at Lincoln Center are very exhibitionistic. Tully has always been inwardly focused. No one really knows about it. You come here for the film festival or for Chamber Music Society, but you never really pay much attention to where you are. And so the intention was to give it a signature, give it a place on the street, give Juilliard a proper entrance. It's the most important music, theater, dance conservatory in the United States, if not the world. Had no front door. So it's doing all those normal things, like giving these spaces presence on the street, and then pushing it a little bit further beyond that kind of elitism of the 60s that Lincoln Center was associated with and founded on. We like very much here where we've pulled the building into its property line. You could see all of the edges of the building just align with that moment where City Street meets the property of Lincoln Center. It's a place that's semi-sheltered and where the public can come from a concert and hang out with drinks, at intermission, or during the day, anyone can just come here and hang out as public space. People, I've learned that New York City since Bloomberg has become much more friendly. People like to hang out outdoors. There are more restaurants with outdoor spaces now than there have ever been. And we used to wonder, a decade ago, why anybody wants to sit in New York street with rushing traffic and dirt and all of that, but people love it. And there's just something strange that's happened socially in New York. The city has become really friendly. And people just like to spend time in this liminal zone between streets where a certain kind of rules and codes have to be met. So there are certain things you can do here that you can't do just past this line. There's certain things you can do out there that you can't do here. And it's really kind of an interesting legal and social kind of code moment of just kind of taking over and interpreting. I pride myself in some of the curtain walls that we have here, and this is one of the most interesting ones. We wanted to have the sheerest of divisions between the interior public space and the exterior public space. And essentially we're carrying the forces of the building on columns, and we're cantilevering with a major cantilever structure in this direction. So the curtain wall is bearing absolutely no weight, so it can be as thin as can be humanly made and still take the forces of the wind. And as you can see, it's very delicately clipped, so there's almost as little interference as could possibly be between us and the outside. Just a couple of details to notice. The module of the wall stack is taken all across the stage, and the 4 vertical stacks on the stage left and stage right are full panel doors that pivot 360 degrees. You're seeing the half panel pivot. But they can pivot to 180 degrees to black absorptive material out for film screenings, or to any modulation in between. You can sort of break up, and you can make masking for dance and lots of other applications. And the rear panels, that whole stack all the way up and down, those are sliding doors. And you can entirely slide open the rear wall. Every panel, and they stack actually, and they reveal an organ, which has not yet been renovated, but it's going back there. And all of the panels above the stage are tip and fly, so you can just fine-tune the acoustics. So when a conductor comes in, they can tune it with the aspiration to make an intimate hall with 1,100 seats. First we wanted to make this high-performance wood skin that did everything, that would accommodate all the acoustics, would kind of make a nice feel, would basically take in all the features that were already here because the boxes were here, the balcony was here, but that would basically wrap everything, almost like shrink wrapping it backwards. And one of our intentions was to take away all unnecessary noise, both acoustically and visually. And when you look at a lot of halls, you're always distracted by visual noise that is preventing you from a deep concentration of what's on the stage. And that's what connects you and the performer together in that musical experience. But there are always acoustic panels, there are always